Welcome everybody. Welcome to a series of videos on liberalizing intra-African trade in wild meat. This series is brought to you by the African Wildlife Economy Institute at Stellenbosch University in partnership with Atlas Network. In this series of videos, we will be exploring how one particular wildlife product, in this case wild meat, can provide new opportunities for livelihoods, new opportunities for the sustainable utilization of wild species, and in turn, as we focus on at the Institute, new opportunities for restoring and conserving landscapes. So in a nutshell, the African Wildlife Economy Institute is a think tank focused on landscape restoration, landscape rewilding, landscape conservation through the use of wild goods and services, including meat, as we discuss in these series, but also plant products, also other animal products, as well as services such as nature-based carbon credits or ecotourism. Dr. Biandre Joubert will now take us through the results of our research and discuss barriers to the wild meat trade in the context of intra-Africa trade.
This research aimed to assess the ability of the AfCFTA's non-tariff barrier mechanism as a tool through which to address the identified challenges and non-tariff barriers in the wild meat industry. It asks a very simple question: what are the barriers to liberalizing the trade in wild meat under the AfCFTA, and what recommendations can be made to address them? The purpose of this series is to provide an overview of the outcomes and findings of this research, as well as the associated recommendations. Where relevant, specific differences between South Africa, Namibia, and Zambia are highlighted. However, given the focus of the report being on the AfCFTA mechanism in general, where possible, focus primarily remains on the broader non-tariff barriers that are relevant in an intra-African trade context and that are capable of generalization. In this series, we will be sharing information about a variety of topics related to this research. We start with an overview of the African Continental Free Trade Area before moving to an overview of non-tariff barriers and the importance of resolving them in the context of wild meat trade. With these outcomes in mind, the policy recommendations that we developed in response to the findings of this research are also shared. One of the outcomes of the research was that the barriers faced by the wild meat industry are not all barriers that the AfCFTA mechanism can reasonably be expected to resolve. For this reason, the recommendations and findings have been split into two categories and therefore into two videos. The first is technical recommendations related to the mechanism itself, and the second is broader recommendations. We end this series with concluding remarks and an explanation of the next steps.
So in these series of video clips, we'll take you through the aspects of trade on the continent, the challenges, the new opportunities, as well as some of the particular issues addressing the wild meat sector and various ways in which we can actually enhance the trade in this sector. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you very much for joining us.